They both lie fluently, easily, effortlessly, without drawing a breath or giving it a second thought. You hope that that's not necessary to be successful in politics these days, but the Americans are setting the democratic world a very bad example. Well, look, I'd score the debate as a narrow win for Donald Trump, but in reality, I think it was a functional draw. They both were doing two things. They're both speaking to their bases and trying to convert that tiny sliver of Americans who are undecided.
I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people.
She doesn't have a plan. Take a look at her plan. She doesn't have a plan.
As for the undecideds, I mean, if your issues are immigration and inflation, Trump was convincing. If your issues are abortion and Obamacare, Harris was convincing. So I think it's pretty much a functional draw.
We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history.
As they say, he has a high floor but maybe a low ceiling. He certainly didn't say anything so strange that if you were going to vote for Trump before you watched this debate, you would vote against Trump afterwards. And he did make the points about immigration, inflation, and to Harris, if you've got all these great plans, how come you didn't implement them over the term of the Biden administration?
She doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run.
How did Harris perform? She was infinitely better than Joe Biden, so she had a very low bar to clear.
Look, I'd be happy to have a driving contest in that.
Like Trump, she just didn't answer any of the questions. I mean, she was more egregious, I think, than Trump in simply just not answering questions. She simply recited a whole lot of set pieces which she had learnt. She certainly didn't do anything which would lead a voter to think she's completely incompetent to be president, but nor did I think it was a very commanding or interesting performance.
I'm going to tell you all in this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook.
She had a lot more to lose because she's so much less well known than Trump, and a lot more to win. And I think she consolidated herself okay. The format of the debate was very good. All debates should stick on this format, that neither candidate is allowed to talk when the other candidate is having their assigned time. But I would make this criticism of ABC. The moderators were clearly biased against Trump in a very unprofessional and unfair way.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born.
I thought it was quite disgraceful the way the moderators would make a little anti-Trump speech as their intro to asking Trump questions. And then they would make another little anti-Trump speech as their intro to asking Harris questions. I mean, both candidates told lies, so they could have easily called out Kamala Harris 20 times, but they called out Trump 2 or 3 or 4 times. I don't think we really learned anything new about Kamala Harris from this debate because she was giving pre-digested sound bites, which she'd learnt by rote.
It's just a sound bite. They gave her that to say.
She absolutely refused to answer a whole series of questions. For example, why, if the tariffs that Trump is proposing are so bad, why did the Biden administration stick with all of Trump's tariffs from his first term?
So I think you've heard tonight 2 very different visions for our country. One that is focused on the future, and the other that is focused on the past, and an attempt to take us backward.
So in a sense, she reveals herself as a kind of professional politician, and you can deal with professional politicians. They've normally run the United States. So I thought Trump did okay, even though most commentators are saying he was, too tired or too angry or something. I mean, Trump's always angry. He's been angry for 78 years. That's one of the things Americans identify with him about. But it strikes me that the response to this debate reminds me a little bit of the 1960 debate between Richard Nixon and John F. Kennedy. The people who listened to the debate, the political insiders, thought Nixon had won.
Mr. Nixon, would you like to comment on that statement?
I have no comment.
The people who watched the debate on TV, the ordinary voters, thought Kennedy had won. He looked handsome and they could identify with him.
There's no certain road to the presidency. There are no guarantees.
that if you take one road or another, that you will be a successful president.
Well, Trump certainly doesn't look handsome, but a lot of Americans identify with him, and his anger today was mostly directed on behalf of the American people. So he's very angry about what's happened with immigration, with illegal immigration on the southern border. He's very angry about the state of the economy. I think that sort of anger, that's not a problem in a candidate.
The people that came in, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Kamala Harris didn't really effectively distance herself from Biden. She just didn't talk about the record. It was as if she'd been holidaying in Tahiti or something for the last 3 years and had decided to come in and rescue America from the awful mess that it's in. So she's simultaneously saying America is in a terrible mess, which I will fix, and at the same time, when she does talk about the Biden record, she says it's a fabulous record. Look at all the wonderful things we've done.
You talk about extreme.
I think Trump would have been much more effective to refer to Kamala Harris as Biden-Harris, instead of which he said, she's a Marxist and so on. Well, that's plainly over the top.
She's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it?
So Trump was definitely strongest on illegal immigration and inflation and the record of the Biden administration. Now, in each of those things, he said some odd things. I mean, he's talking about illegal immigrants stealing people's cats and dogs in order to eat them in Springfield and so forth. Well, I don't know, that may or may not have happened, who knows, but it's an odd sort of thing to say.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs.
Where Trump was very weak, I thought, was particularly on health care. Trump has been president for 4 years. He's been running for president for 8 or 9 years. And the best he could say about the Affordable Health Care Act was, I have concepts.
I would only change it if we come up with something that's better and less expensive. And there are concepts and options we have to do that.
So Harris was effective in talking about abortion.
I pledge to you, when Congress passes a bill to put back in place the protections of Roe v. Wade, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law.
It's an issue that's playing in favour of the Democrats. Now, she's quite dishonest about the issue because she said that Trump will impose a national ban on abortion, and Trump has said explicitly, repeatedly, he won't do that. He wants the abortion issue to be decided at the state level, and the states will have their own elections and their own referendums and all the rest on it.
Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century.
She was pretty effective in talking about affordable health care, I thought. She made the standard case that Trump is a very unsuitable person to be president. She had a lot of evidence to work with in that. I thought she was very weak on answering about the economy.
I am offering what I describe as an opportunity economy.
Nobody has ever thought of that before. So I just think that's kind of dead air when politicians engage in cliches as banal as that.
A bunch of lies, grievances, and name-calling.
You believe in things that the American people don't believe in. It's another lie.
You're going to hear a bunch of lies coming from this fellow.
Well, Trump says that Harris is a Marxist. Well, that's ridiculous. He says that if Harris is elected president, Israel won't exist in 2 years. That's plainly ridiculous.
She hates Israel.
His figures about illegal immigration just seem to get bigger and crazier.
How would you deport 11 million undocumented immigrants? I know you believe that number is much higher.
Harris certainly told her portion of lies. As I say, she said that Trump is proposing a national abortion ban. Trump is very explicitly not proposing, very explicitly rejecting a national abortion ban. She said that Trump said there would be blood in the streets, carnage, a bloodbath, if the election didn't go his way.
Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath.
They both lie fluently, easily, effortlessly, without drawing a breath or giving it a second thought. They are inveterate liars about matters of public policy. You hope that that's not necessary to be successful in politics these days, but the Americans are setting the democratic world a very bad example. I would be surprised if the debate moved a lot of voters. Now, there's the debate, and then there's the debate about the debate. So the single most significant thing that happened after the debate was that Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris. Now, that's the state of our politics. I admire Taylor Swift. She's a very fine performer and, as far as you can see, a very good person. She did that in the wake of the debate. That will be an assistance to Harris in presenting this debate as a tremendous triumph. I think people who watched the debate who are going to vote for Trump will still vote for Trump. People who watched the debate who are going to vote for Harris will still vote for Harris. And that narrative will be assisted, of course, by the Taylor Swift endorsement. That might help Harris a bit, but I would be very surprised if historically we look back on this debate and say, well, that was the turning point of the campaign. That would be, I don't see that at the moment. I think as I say, I thought Trump was a narrow points winner, but I think it was a functional draw, and I'd be very surprised if the debate itself moved many votes.